All right, listen up. Today we're diving straight into this. This thing has been slithering around online. Black fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
Now, look, if your first thought was, well, the actual real exhaustion from dealing with racism day in, day out, hold up.
Yeah, that's not what this version is about. Not at all.
Level. This is the internet version, where everything's twisted and, frankly, pretty damn stupid sometimes.
Exactly. So the original term black fatigue, it comes from Mary Frances Winters, and it's about the real, the psychological and emotional weight of systemic racism on Black people.
Right, the legit thing.
But what we're seeing now,
Yeah.
Audacious doesn't even cover it. They've completely flipped the script.
Audacious. It's grade A bullshit is what it is. They've cooked up this new definition, get this, where black fatigue is supposedly felt by people, black and white apparently,
Right.
who are, and I quote, damn tired of foolishness of some black people.
Foolishness. Yeah.
And what's this foolishness, you ask? Oh, it's a greatest hits collection. We're talking constant whining about racism, talking too loud, even just fighting. Let that sink in.
Yeah, it's quite the list. And digging through the online reactions, I mean, it's jaw-dropping.
No kidding.
One person was reacting to this this white woman talking about it, and she was furious, understandably.
What did the woman say? Brace yourselves, folks.
She actually said, I'm so glad we're finally talking about this. We as a society are sick of y'all.
Oh, my.
And then the punchline, the whites are now saying, I've stayed quiet about this for too long. The ghetto behavior needs to stop.
Ghetto behavior. Jesus Christ. It's the same old racist crap. And just wearing a slightly different, maybe slightly less obvious, stupid hat.
Pretty much. One of the sources we looked at just called it like it is.
Yeah.
Said this new black fatigue garbage is just a way to call someone a ghetto nigga without calling you a ghetto. Blunt, but...
Let's be super clear here. The original black fatigue, that's real. That's valid. This new co-opted version, it reeks of prejudice. It's absolute crap.
And the reaction from people who actually get the original meaning, pure outrage. Like you said, pissed off.
As they should be.
The general feeling online across different discussions is that this is just going to create more divisiveness, more anger, and more hate, period.
Well, duh. What else would it do? One commenter basically said it's an absolutely pointless conversation. Can't argue with that.
But here's the kicker. It gets even more complicated.
Oh, lovely.
It's not just the usual internet trolls pushing this, you know. The sources show some black people are using this term too, this new definition.
Wait, what? Seriously? Black people are saying they have black fatigue in this sense?
Yeah. Chew on that. They're saying they're tired of things like victimhood mentality or constantly bringing up trauma or, surprise, surprise, perpetual complaining.
Okay.
And they're using phrases like being sick of hood booger activities and ignorant behavior.
Hood booger activities. What the hell does that even mean? Sounds like they're just talking about stuff they find embarrassing or maybe stereotypes they don't like.
It seems that way. It's a really uncomfortable layer to this whole mess. These folks often say they don't want to be stereotyped or lumped in with behaviors they see as negative.
So they're trying to distance themselves.
Exactly. From what they perceive as, well, problematic elements within the community.
And what happens when these black folks call out this foolishness, as the other side calls it?
Oh, you know the drill. They get hit with the labels. Uncle Tom, coon, sellout.
Of course. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Pretty much. One source nailed it. It's like, you're damned if you complain about racism, and you're damned if you complain about the behavior that makes people sick of you.
What a fucked up situation. Seriously.
Yeah, and the sources, well, they try to explain why this new fatigue is supposedly happening.
Let me guess. It's someone else's fault.
You got it. One particularly charming conservative take blames, wait for it, the Democratic Party and the Great Society. For everything, all societal problems, all this out-of-control behavior.
Oh, for fuck's sake. The classic blame game. Let me guess. Lyndon B. Johnson quotes are involved.
Bingo. They trot out that alleged LBJ quote about having black people voting Democrat for 200 years.
Ugh. Of course they do. What else?
Then there's the claim that Democrats basically told black people, you don't need fathers in the home. You can be on welfare and have as many babies as you want.
But seriously.
And, oh, by the way, we're going to destroy public schools, and we're going to make sure that behavior standards are seen as racist.
That is, wow. That's some next-level conspiracy bullshit right there. You honestly can't make this stuff up.
Other explanations are maybe slightly less wild, but still problematic.
Go on.
One idea is that this hood boogerness, as they call it, has spread and become the main way to, quote, behave. Why? Because it's supposedly dominant in Black culture. Movies, music, that kind of thing.
Right, because Black culture is just one monolithic thing, apparently. And it's all hood boogerness. What utter nonsense.
Then there was another theory, that first-generation kids of immigrants supposedly do better.
Oh, yeah. Why is that, according to this genius?
Because they supposedly have two-parent homes, and here it comes. No victimhood mentality.
Ah, there it is. The victimhood mentality. Always comes back to that, doesn't it? Like acknowledging reality is some kind of weakness.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Which really brings us to a core issue here, right? This whole thing forces the question, is this just respectability politics on steroids?
Explain that. Respectability politics.
It's basically the idea that marginalized groups should consciously adopt mainstream manners and standards, essentially, act more like the dominant group to gain respect and avoid prejudice.
So is this new Black fatigue just demanding Black people act more? Or, well, more white or middle class, to not piss people off? Is it behave like us or shut up?
That's the big question. Or is there something else? Is there maybe a genuine frustration, even within parts of the Black community, about certain behaviors they see as genuinely harmful or counterproductive?
Regardless of what white people think.
Yeah. Are some people, Black or white, just genuinely tired of what they perceive as loud, disruptive stuff, or constant accusations of racism they feel are unwarranted?
It's a mess. No easy answers there, I guess.
Definitely not. And speaking of messy, one source actually offered advice. Let's call it spicy advice. For Black women on how to deal with this whole Black fatigue wave.
Spicy.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. What kind of advice are we talking about? Sounds dodgy already.
It's basically a strategy of distancing and maybe throwing some people under the bus, frankly.
Okay, lay it on me. This sounds like prime bullshit fodder.
The advice included things like, quote, move up in class to avoid the angry people who are in survival mode, both the supposedly angry Black and white people, and avoid anything seen as ghetto ratchet.
Move up in class. Avoid ghetto ratchet. What does that even achieve?
The idea seems to be shut up about race and politics in the real world, present yourself impeccably, respectably, and whatever you do, don't engage with the Black fatigue asshats online. Yeah. Just ignore them, make yourself small.
So the advice is basically, be quiet, look respectable, and hope the problem disappears. That sounds cowardly and useless.
The rationale given is self-preservation. Look unimpeachable. Let the haters expose themselves. And crucially, stop trying to fight for broader social justice.
Stop fighting.
Yeah. One tip was literally be the opposite of a social justice warrior. Be selfish. Burn the cape was the phrase used.
Burn the cape. Let's cut the crap. That sounds like a terrible strategy, like giving up. And frankly, a bit selfish and shitty.
It definitely raises eyebrows. But look, these sources do point to this internal conflict, this growing trend, maybe, of people within the Black community feeling more comfortable criticizing certain things publicly.
Things they see as negative behaviors in their own community.
Exactly. There seems to be this rising call for accountability for what some perceive as bad choices or harmful actions.
Like what examples did they give?
Things like frustration with baby mama culture, as they termed it, issues with current rap culture glorifying violence, gang violence itself. These were mentioned as things causing this fatigue.
Okay, so internal critiques, fine. But then you get the other end of the spectrum.
Oh, yeah. The truly baffling takes.
Like the argument I saw that Black people somehow have a massive advantage in America now, in 2025.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Pointing to, Oprah or Jay-Z or whoever, as if a few incredibly successful outliers somehow negate centuries of systemic barriers.
What an absolute load of crap.
Yeah.
Just mind-numbingly stupid.
And that naturally leads us right back into the whole victim mentality quagmire.
Here we go again.
On one side, you've got the people saying they're tired of the victimhood. Black people need to move past the past, work for what you need, just pull themselves up by their bootstraps, apparently, ignoring whether they even have boots.
Right. Because history is just like a minor inconvenience you can choose to ignore. Easy peasy.
And on the other side, people pointing out the obvious. Generations of oppression have lasting consequences. Being just a couple of decades away from overt legal segregation isn't ancient history. It matters.
Of course it matters. We even saw the phrase victim maxing, didn't we?
Yep, that charming little term popped up, real classy.
So classy. What about the media and activists? Did they get dragged into this too?
Oh, absolutely. Plenty of shots fired at, quote, dumbass activists crying about racism, and calls for the media to completely change how it portrays Black people.
How so? What's the complaint there?
The argument seems to be that the media focuses too much on the worst among them, again, their words, and portrays criminals as martyrs.
The whole a la George Floyd type of comparison, that level of discourse.
That exact kind of comparison was made, yes. Really paints a picture of the mindset, doesn't it?
It paints a picture of absolute garbage thinking. And finally, let's not forget the elephant in the room, the undercurrent.
The N-word subtext.
Exactly. Several sources basically say what many people are probably thinking. This black fatigue thing is just a chicken shit way for racists to vent without actually saying the word.
It's a strong suspicion, and frankly, given the context, a pretty understandable one.
We even saw that challenge, didn't we? That really aggressive, nasty one.
Yeah, the one basically saying, if you're so fatigued, if you don't want to recognize the civil rights play, go ahead and say the N-word. No one's stopping you. It's a free country.
Just vile. Absolutely vile. Talk about throwing fuel on the fire.
So yeah, after wading through all that, what's the takeaway? It's clear this new spin on black fatigue has people seriously pissed off. And for very, very good reason.
You can say that again. This whole thing is a goddamn dumpster fire, isn't it? On one hand, you have people correctly identifying it as tired old racism wearing cheap new clothes.
Right. Thinly veiled prejudice.
And then you have others, black and white, who are genuinely claiming, no, we're just fed up with specific behaviors.
And the really crucial screwed up part is that black people are on both sides of this ugly debate. That's what the sources show. It just highlights how incredibly complex and personal this stuff is.
It's definitely not some easy us versus them narrative, no matter how much some asshats online want it to be. So what are we left with? Is this black fatigue crap some kind of twisted wake-up call for difficult conversations within the black community?
Or is it just prejudice finding another nasty little excuse to rear its head?
Yeah, what's your gut reaction listening to all this? You got to think about it, because this kind of bullshit,
it
doesn't just vanish overnight. Now, seriously, go do something less infuriating.